Three, two, one, bingo.
What's up?
What's up?
What is up? Usually say hello and welcome. No, fuck that. What's up this weekend? Degenerates out there, welcome to the Degenerates Clubhouse.
I like how you think that's original. Like, what's up?
No one's ever said that before. They were like, "What's?" and then they don't know what to say after. I came up with up. Original saying. It's gonna become our catchphrase, guys. Watch, you'll see.
Did you ever
catch on?
Did you ever catch somebody with the "What's up, dog" joke?
I didn't. I remember specifically. We being the year college lacrosse team were on an East Coast trip, and the assistant coach caught someone with an up dog. And so, guys, if you haven't heard this brilliant setup and joke, the way it works is, you have to catch someone kind of off guard. And so we were getting out of the vans to go to our hotel, and the coach is just like looking around confused, and then he goes, "Do you guys smell up dog?" and Adam, I think it was Adam Cath, freshman Adam Cath, goes, "What's up, dog?" He goes, "Nothing. What's up with you?" And he was so proud. He was like, for the rest of the trip, the guy was beaming. He's like, "Guys, remember the up dog joke?" Like, "That's great, Curtis. Good job. Good job." Curtis, he's exactly the way you're picturing him.
Mine has you a little bit beat. So we were in the theater department. It was me, Bolliker, maybe Zach. I know for a fact it was me and Bolliker. And there was this other theater kid that was just some GDI who didn't really, he was just kind of usually off on his own, but we included him here and there. Like, and I forget if it was me or Bolliker. I think it was Bolliker. Bolliker's like, he does this thing. He's like, "Hey, do you smell that?" And I go, "Yeah, I do. What is that?" And Bolliker's like, ask the other guy, "Hey, can you smell that? Can you smell that?" He's like, "What is that?" That's up dog. And the guy goes, "What's up, dog?" The guy was funny was the guy even said like, yeah, I do smell it, or something like that, where he was like, he wasn't in on the joke, but he still smelled something. Anyway, what's up, dog? I came into a company in LA that was actually called Up Dog. I don't know what the hell they did, but whatever.
There's a lot of variations of that too. I can't remember all of them. There's Nunya.
Nunya,
None of your business.
None of your business. We used to say, like if it was, you have a conversation with somebody and someone wants to chime in, and we would say, "Hey, chata," and the third party be like, "Chata," like, "Yeah, chat fuck up," because we didn't want them to butt into the conversation. Anyway,
okay,
yeah, chat the fuck up.
Good to know. So yeah, you know what? Up dog, probably not the highest form of humor.
No,
right? It's like somewhere below puns and just ripping farts, but it's in the spectrum of humor, you could say.
I find farts humorous.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, fart jokes have survived. There are fart jokes in Shakespeare. Shakespeare plays, yeah, 100%.
Really?
So everyone just remembers like his good and serious plays. A lot of his plays were very dumb comedies, lots of fart and sex jokes, very childish. I
want to read those.
Our man Bill Shakespeare. Still incredibly hard to read if you're not used to the language, but I guess what, on that vein of childish humor, Mondo, what are your like top 10 animated movies for kids? So like a movie like South Park, I think a masterpiece of cinema,
but not for kids.
No, not so much.
My top movies, I think
animated movies.
I think I'm tied to a lot of the older Disney stuff. A lot of the newer ones, I'm not really.
Lion King is goated.
Lion King?
Hell yeah. Lion King, one of the best. Also, did you know, based on Shakespeare?
Lion King?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah, that whole song, that whole thing of like the uncle usurping like the king and taking over, and so I mean, yeah, the Lion King is basically Hamlet.
I never read Hamlet.
Okay.
I think I read bits and pieces like that we were forced to as high schoolers, but never read the entire thingy. So no, I'd say for me, like I was always tied to the ones when I was a kid, like Pinocchio and Dumbo, and yeah.
Pinocchio is some weird shit when they're all turning into donkeys.
Yeah, that scared the fuck out of me when I was a little kid.
Very trippy. I feel like that slew of animated movies definitely has a place in my heart, because that's what we had when we were growing up as kids. I think they got way better. Like Pixar in particular, just
Pixar, there's a lot of good ones.
Puts Disney to shame.
Yeah, there's one.
What's the one where it's based on emotions?
I think it's just called. It's called Inside Out. Yeah.
One of the best explanations of like how depression works and everything. Very nuanced, really funny. I mean, Pixar set the bar a lot higher.
I think the newer one. I think one of the newer ones I really liked was the Despicable Me, the one with Gru and the little minion.
I've never seen it.
It's funny. Steve Carell's funny.
This might be kind of a hot take. I have nothing against the Toy Story movies. I think they're good, but for whatever reason, maybe I was just the wrong age when I saw them. They are not this like work of master craft and art that a lot of people portrayed them to be.
I think the first one was okay, and then the second and third were like But anyway,
I have heard people say Toy Story 3 is not only one of the greatest animated movies, they're like it's one of the greatest movies of all time, up there with The Godfather. Where I'm like, that's just slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
So last question. Have you ever seen Frozen?
I have seen Frozen. My James Marshall's daughter, Niabel, she loves Frozen. All the little girls that age love Frozen.
I don't know if they love it quite as much. And certainly I would hope not quite in the same way as our hero from this week's story. Oh God, I don't even know if we can call him a hero. Our anti-hero. Heavy emphasis on the anti-Florida man.
Florida man, causing mayhem when he can. Driving drunk as a rule, alligators in his pool. Look out, here comes the Florida man. Oh, yeah!
Loud. And plus the outro part of the Florida Man lasts like a beat too long. Anyway, the thing looks like Marvel. Anyway, moving on. Florida man arrested for having sex with stuffed Olaf doll in Target. Fuck. Why Olaf? Why not Elsa or the other fucking girl, like one of the princesses in that movie? That he had to fuck the snowman guy.
So do you think they sell stuffed Elsa dolls?
Yeah, they sell more of those ones than the Olaf.
So you're thinking like this is a scenario. He's in the toy aisle of Target. It's like looking around, feeling a certain type of way, little bit horny. Maybe he saw like a JCPenney ad or something, and now he's all riled up. And he's looking around, and he's like, he sees all these toys on the shelf, and then he kind of zeroes in on these bright, colorful Frozen toys, and he's like, stuffed Elsa. Who are the other characters?
I don't know.
There's a male lead, the stuffed male lead, and then he's like, oh no. This is what gets me going.
Olaf looks like like a dog poo that gets dried up and turns white. He looks like a Mr. Hanky, like a really old Mr. Hanky. He's white.
He's a little amorphous.
Yeah. Anyway, Florida man has been arrested after having sex with a stuffed Olaf doll in a branch of Target. Witnesses saw the man, identified as Cody Meter, 20 years old, take the plush Snowman toy down from a display of Disney's Frozen merchandise in a St. Petersburg-based store. After lying the toy down on the floor, Meter then proceeded to dry hump it until he achieved ejaculation.
Wow, so like he was really aroused by it.
Wow.
It's not only that he humped it. I mean, I guess kudos for finishing what you started.
Jesus.
Jesus.
After putting the doll back on the shelf, Meter then selected a large unicorn stuffed animal he also began to have sex with. The incident took place on Tuesday, October 22nd. Blah 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 blah.
He wasn't done. He was like, wow, that was really great.
Hey, good for him. He didn't need he didn't need a second to
going back for seconds. This was the golden corral of of stuffed animal humping. He's like, "Ooh, the first course was great. Let's try this unicorn."
He goes from an Olaf to a unicorn. Pretty.
I mean, he's definitely got a type. Somehow that feels consistent. Like kind of weird mythological creatures that you wouldn't. That would not be my first thought. I'm like, yeah, this is. I mean, I don't think it technically counts as bestiality because it is a stuffed animal. But he's like, I want to have sex with a stuffed horse with a giant horn on its head.
After being read his rights, Meter admitted to having done stupid stuff and to having nutted on the stuffed Olaf toy. He was then arrested on charges of criminal mischief. Both the Olaf doll and the stuffed unicorn were removed from the store and destroyed. The police report noted the toys in question could not be resold due to circumstances.
God, wait, hold on. I'm just envisioning. Have you ever seen those like procedural crime shows where they're like they have to dispose of a body after it's murdered and they're putting it in like the giant furnace to be incinerated? I'm just picturing that whole scene playing out, but instead of a body, it's just the stuffed Olaf, and just the absolute look of disgust on the coroner's face. Like, what has my life come to?
He's wearing gloves for sure.
Several. Like he just every glove in that box. It's a box of latex gloves, and he's put all of them on. Good Lord.
The story continues on. That's almost over. Meter's father, who was not at the scene, reportedly told officers his son had a history of this type of behavior.
Oh,
Olaf, who stars in beloved Disney film Frozen, is a friendly snowman who was brought to life by Elsa's magical powers. They did fuck Disney.com. Olaf is about to make his cheerful return to cinemas. Blah 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 blah. And Frozen 2. Who cares?
All right. Anyway. So here's the thing. This is what I think. I think, guys, as a community of degenerates, I think we need to help this guy out. He's clearly got some problems, and I want to start a Kickstarter for him so we can help him, and we need to raise enough where we can buy him a Disney World season pass.
No, fuck no. He's just gonna nut on everything. Every fucking store he walks in, can you imagine the poor kids of watching this kid? Because some kids do, I should say idolize, worship or whatever, a character, like, Olaf is my favorite. And all of a sudden, this 20-year-old fucking bearded grizzled kid starts boning your childhood favorite plush doll.
Oh, there's plenty of plush dolls. You know what else is at Disney World, Mondo? There are people in full-size costumes.
Oh no! Now that I'd pay to see.
They are never gonna look at Mickey Mouse the same way again.
The writer of the article tried to get a little funny here. It has not been stated whether Meter will be making his appearance in this upcoming movie following his impromptu Target Isle audition. However, I'm sure I speak for many of us when I say I do hope not. Good, yeah.
Good job. You know what? Hey, leave the bad comedy to us, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane.
What do you think of the guy's picture? What does he look like?
You know, he doesn't look nearly as weird as you'd expect.
Well, he looks like what you would expect. He looks, yeah.
You know, other than the long hair, I mean, you go to any college and you see like 30 of those guys.
He reminds me of like a Planet of the Apes guy. You know what I mean? Like he's got the kind of the chops, the fucking whole
planet of an ape.
Yeah, of an ape from the Planet of the Apes, like a caveman kind of.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh, sorry, you're talking about the original.
Yeah, the original.
No, I was thinking the CGI one.
Oh,
I'm
no,
like,
the new ones.
Caesar.
Yeah,
Andy Serkis.
The new ones use really good prosthetics. This one looks like more the old style, like the 70s or 80s Planet of the Apes, the big old donkey ears.
Sure.
Anyway, ugly looking dude. Stop fucking Olaf dolls, please. Moving on from Florida Man. Why does this go away? Moving on from Florida Man, we are going to ask Reddit a couple questions. Aaron. Aaron of the Jaffe variety.
Aaron of House Jaffe?
Aaron of House Jaffe.
You know what? Small tangent. I want to make a coat of arms. That'd be cool.
I have a cousin whose last name is Medina, and they're apparently like, they're the old Castilian Spanish knights, and so he actually found a coat of arms for his family's last name. I wonder if there's one for Ramirez. There's probably one for Ramirez. It's a Spanish surname. It's not like exclusively like Mexican. Its origins are Spanish, so I would imagine there might be a old Sir Armando Ramirez, fucking 1700 or 1600 something. Anyway, Aaron Reddit question number 1: what is 30 too old for?
It's a great question, Armando.
Okay.
Glad I selected it.
All right.
I also really didn't think about it that much. You know, it's interesting, right? Because 30 is definitely a transition point,
Mm-hmm.
both like emotionally, maturity wise, and just physically. Because like mid 20s, even into like 27, 28, you can still party pretty hard. You still kind of looked at a little bit as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, some stupid behavior is forgiven a little bit easier. But I feel like just culturally, like in our, like once you hit 30, people are like, oh, this is when you're supposed to start becoming responsible. And they, you know, a lot of people start having kids in their early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So like the stuff that you can get away with is definitely limited. So I think I don't think 30 is too old to have like a giant bender.
Yeah, like blackout, like looking forward for the weekend to get blackout drunk.
I think, well, I think any age is not a good age to be blackout drunk.
Right.
But like you can still have a crazy drinking night when you're 30. I think that's too old to have a crazy drinking night midweek.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're 30 and your buddy's like, dude, we're fucking getting fucked up. And you're like, okay, like, dude, I'm down. And
What about
on Tuesday.
What about special occasion like somebody's birthday falls on a Wednesday or
Fuck that. No.
anniversary or something?
No. So here's the difference. Here's the difference. When 23 and someone's birthday falls on a Wednesday, you know, you just get fucked up Wednesday night. When you're 30 and they fall on a Wednesday, you do something small on Wednesday and then you celebrate it on Friday night like an adult.
I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Good point.
You could still, that's what I'm saying. You could still go crazy celebrating with their birthday, but you have the maturity to be like, you know what? In reality, does it really matter if it's 2 days later? Like we're just gonna.
There is like there's the bro culture, like, hey bro, let's get all fucked up. But there's that, but there's also, I feel like, a party girl, like they think they're, you know, their 30s and even 40s, and they think they're in their 20s, and they want to go, oh my god, let's go.
No,
it's like blackout drunk. Come on.
So I actually think that particularly 30, that switch is a lot harder for girls. Because for guys, it's like, okay, like I'm 29, I'm 30, whatever, I'm a little bit older. The aging process culturally for guys is just not as tough. Like, but a lot of girls freak out when they're turning 30. Like that's like, they're like, I think there's a little like demon that lives like deep in their brains. It's like, oh, my eggs are drying up.
Yeah.
I can't, I'm getting old. I'm gonna be infertile soon. Like, and I mean, that's probably simplifying a little bit, but yeah, they start freaking out, you know, and
Making bad choices.
well, and also I'm trying to think how to explain this. Women physically have a rougher time with the aging process than guys do.
I think guys don't give a shit. Guys are kind of like most, not say always the case, but
Well, I think it's cultural too, though, because like we've had so many, you know, male movie stars who are old as fuck and they're still portrayed to be like handsome and everything, and men being a little kind of rough and gritty in our culture is held up as something that can be like attractive and sexy even. I mean, like, I'm trying to think of a good example. When like fucking Clint Eastwood was like 40, his face looked like a canvas, you know, bag. But it's like, oh, look, he's a handsome, rugged guy.
Canvas or leather?
You take your pick.
Leather. I think leather.
Sure. But that had been left out in the sun for a long time and then sort of pissed on by some stray dogs. Not what I'm trying to say is not great skin quality. For a guy, that's fine. For women, it's like, oh, you have one wrinkle, we need to inject your face with Botox and this and that and the other and have 1,000 skin creams. Like, it's tough for them.
But I think women do it. I think women, it's in, again, you said it, it's in their mind that it's like, aging is a bad thing. I think there are dudes out there that don't give a shit if you're an aging one. Like, there's the whole MILF porn phenomenon. So I think
exactly.
I think it's more of it's in the woman's mind, like, oh my, I'm starting to not look a certain way, and then then they lipo, Botox, lip. Whatever.
And then they wake up the day of the 30th birthday, they have one gray hair, they like scream like there's a like Friday the 13th killer after them. They pull out the gray hair and they go get completely fucked up drunk and like, look, I'm still young. I can party like a 20-year-old. And then, is what it is. But 30, too old for that shit midweek. That was what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. I think 30 is too old for certain things in social media. Like both men and women, both guys and girls do this where they take selfies and like in front of a mirror and like they're dressed they think they're dressed to the nines or they think they look good, so they gotta take a selfie, post it on the internet for the whole world to see. It's like, God, that's something you do when you're like, I think for me in my mind that's something you do when you're like in junior high school,
Mm-hmm.
and when you're maybe even when you're in college age, but once you get beyond that you're kind of like, come on, dude, stop with the fucking constant selfies and girls do the duck lip face thing and chicks showing their titties. Like social media is kind of crazy these days. It's the wild west. I think at a certain point you got to be like above that, older. Like, hey, I'm done with that. That's a phase. That's a phase we go through and then we're done. We move on. But some people I know still. They don't care if they're 40 or 50. Don't give a shit. They still try to want what they got and show off to the world. Some of the Redditors' answers to that question. User BlueHaze013. Not much. It might not feel like it right now, but the world is your oyster at 30. And that one got a lot of, I guess, likes or whatever in it.
Upvotes.
Yeah, upvotes. That's what you call it. User Plops Magoo writes, sneaking up on someone. I was just trying to sneak up on my wife who had fallen asleep in her chair and the sound of my knees popping blew my cover. Okay, so sneaking up on someone is not something you're too old at 30. It just means your body cannot handle what you're trying to do. That's I get that part. Getting out of bed, fucking hell. User Phoenix_Fock writes, not knowing basic survival skills and relying on someone to do it for you. Example, cooking, laundry, blah, blah, blah. That's true. When I go home, my mom wants to do my laundry. And I'm like, no, I can do it.
I'm a big boy,
I'm
Mom.
a big boy. I got big boy pants.
Got big boy poop stains in my underwear.
I do.
Don't touch those.
Yeah, I do sometimes. But yeah, I think at a certain point, like, you gotta do your own laundry. You gotta wash your dishes and cook. And I'm not saying you don't have to cook for everybody. You gotta be able to self-sufficiency is kind of what I'm getting at. Like, you gotta be able to take care of yourself. And yeah, I think it's one of those things that like those are now considered like outdated traditions for like, I guess, women to learn how to cook and guys to learn how to like do their own like automotive mechanic stuff. But again, those are like outdated. But I still think at a certain age you gotta be able to take care of yourself. One more for that question. User acceptable fudge 291 writes, people's bullshit that was tolerated when younger. I don't understand your answer. Kind of dumb. Reddit question number 2, Aaron. What's the most overrated TV series of all time? Of all time. Clap?
Friends.
Oh, you have to do the clap and the, yeah, I get you.
That was so. I have so many issues with that show. I know it was incredibly popular, and I don't understand. Like with the Big Bang Theory, people seem to figure out that the show was stupid, but they never did with Friends, and I don't know why. Because there's a lot of the same issues. Like, first, all the characters are kind of horrible. Like they're not good people. They fuck each other over.
Did you watch a lot of Friends, or did you just watch a couple here? I didn't watch a lot.
No, I couldn't. I could never stand that show. The other part. So there's that. Like Ross. That guy is just creepy as fuck. Like if you just sort of take the laugh track away, and there's actually a video out there, right, where it's Ross having a conversation with somebody that he works with. By the way, let's zoom even farther back. Ross, they're all like, when the show starts, they're like all 20 somethings, living in these giant apartments in Manhattan that would be extremely expensive. And Ross is just your regular run of the mill 20 something year old with a PhD in paleontology. It's like, I don't understand. I mean, that's a 4-year undergrad and then a doctoral program. I don't know how he did that. Whatever. When
And
you're
still able to afford a Manhattan.
sure, yeah, paleontologist. We're just gonna forget about all that. But there's this video where somebody digitally takes the laugh track out of, and it's this conversation where Ross is talking to someone he works with, and they just put horror music over it, and you're like, oh my god, he's a psychopath. He is fucking insane and so creepy. I mean, all the characters. Joey's just a complete womanizer. I mean, Phoebe is completely disconnected from reality. And the weirdest one, the one who I think is supposed to be likable, was Chandler, but he just cracks all these weird jokes. And if you notice, nobody ever laughs at them.
I think that show was supposed to be like, we like guys all have their own type of woman and women have their own type of guy. I think that was like an eye candy, like, take your pick. You're gonna fantasize about one of these dumb characters.
So it's like my type is like neurotic and really self-absorbed. Oh, speaking of neurotic and self-absorbed, the Courtney Cox character Monica, they love doing flashbacks of when she used to be fat, and the joke was like, look, she was fat, now she's skinny, and they would go to that over and over again. It's like
fat shaming.
Yeah, it says, yeah, look, she was fat.
Being fat sucks.
Hey, look, here's a flashback of her eating a lot of cake. Guys, she was fat.
Being fat is something you could make fun of. Ha 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 ha.
Here's a flashback of her dancing, but she was fat while she was dancing. Guys, it was a really poorly written show. I disliked all the characters and was always incensed that they had these giant fuck ass huge apartments in New York, where I'm like, that's like $6,000 a month. How is Monica affording a $6,000 a month apartment? This is bullshit.
Didn't like some of them work at a coffee shop, or did they just meet at a coffee? I'm imagining this.
Central Perk. That was the coffee shop so Phoebe, a guy again. I assuming she was sleeping under bridges and in dumpsters, because her whole source of income was playing weird songs at this coffee shop. The true story. I mean, none of it. This show was not grounded in reality at all, clearly, and the characters were terrible. And Ross is a sociopath.
I did not, and I can't get into it. I've tried. I dated a girl briefly that was into this show, and I just could not. I just did not get around to why she enjoyed this show. Seinfeld. Dudes made a bajillion dollars from that show.
Yes.
So God bless him and his success. I just don't get it. I just don't get.
No, it's a show about nothing.
It's a show with no real premise. Just even the characters are just kind of there.
Well,
they're just kind of there.
The characters in Seinfeld are even worse people than the ones in Friends. Like that's in Friends it's a bug. In Seinfeld it's a feature. That's like part of it. It's like, oh, they're really terrible, self-absorbed people.
Yeah. And
they try to, and if you remember in the last episode of Seinfeld,
never watched much of it. I mean, like I said, I tried, but I just
they get arrested and put in jail on this. There's like this bad Samaritan. They're like in just a regular town, outside of New York, and they get arrested and put in jail on the bad Samaritan law for basically just being shitheads.
Pretty good.
But Mondo, I will say this in defense of Seinfeld, there are a few sort of clever episodes and things that I think as a whole didn't like the show, but like the Festivus episode.
Yeah, I never got it, but I think CJ still celebrates Festivus. I don't.
The Seinfeld show did have its moments where you're like, oh, that is kind of funny or clever. Never saw any of that in Friends, but I agree with you. I never was into Seinfeld.
I've also heard that Seinfeld as a person, outside of him as a actor, comedian, I heard he's as a person, Seinfeld the person is a fucking shithead. I heard he's a fucking shitty human being. He's not nice to people.
No, he's a fucking diva.
Like everyone's below him. He thinks he walks on water. I just heard he's a shitty fucking human being, and that to me adds to like, I don't like your show. I don't like your show. Good, like I said, good for you. You were successful. You will have 20 bajillion times more money I will ever have in my lifetime. But your show sucks. It's dumb.
Mondo, have you ever noticed that your shit doesn't stink? Because you're Jerry Seinfeld, and you can pay people to walk behind you with Febreze as you fart, and you just no. Yeah, it is actually hilarious to me though. I've heard a couple of roundtable sort of not even interviews. It's just there are these like roundtable discussions where they're comedians just talking about the craft and everything.
Mhm.
And watching Seinfeld and Louis C.K. try to interact was hilarious to me
Mm.
because it was. I remember there's this like really like dark Louis C.K. joke, and Seinfeld was trying to retell it, and in Seinfeld's retelling, it just became corny and hacky.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just got that voice. He's got the delivery where it's kind of like,
Well, he also repackaged it as a Seinfeld joke because
oh,
his jokes are very, very old school, where it's just this like very clean like setup, premise, punchline, and it has that very precise structure to it. He thinks that's the best way to tell a joke and will never deviate. But you know what? He's got like 7 billion cars, and hopefully that makes him happy.
yeah. Some of the Redditors have had this to say about that question. User come to Queen. Oh, wait, it's Comet Queen. I'm an idiot. User Comet Queen writes Grey's Anatomy. I mean, how many series did they milk out of the show? Never seen it. Don't know anything about it.
Neither did I.
Grey's Anatomy. One to avoid. And there's a lot of sub posts below that. So I guess a lot of people agree with that answer. I never heard of this show. User Hinkhall27 writes The Curse of Oak Island.
Also never heard of it.
They build up the conclusion of each episode so much with conjecture and folklore to excite you, only for the outcome to be very minimal and unimpressive. Holy shit, a piece of wood from 1704. We are finding the treasure tomorrow. A lot of responses to that. Last one I'll read for this one. User Wolf805 writes, those stupid real life drama shows on MTV, they have to be staged. Well, they are staged, buddy. Hey, baby, do you want to star on this MTV show with me to find out if I'm cheating? No fucking way they're real. No shit, idiot. Are you the last one on this planet to realize those are all staged? I think the very first reality shows, quote unquote reality shows, I remember for me, I could have some, but were like Real World and Road Rules for me.
Those are the first two I remember.
After that, I think when they cast those people, they try to cast like interesting or peculiar or characters, and then they just let them be themselves, and then from there came the drama.
Oh no, those were still staged as well.
Right. But I think after those two, every subsequent show is like way more like it's scripted. It's to the point where it's scripted. There may be like a slate, a template of scripted stuff, and then they just kind of deviate from that as they go. But
I think you're giving those shows a little bit too much credit that they would invest the time to write a script. I think it's even more lowbrow than that. It's just the producer being like, "Oh, dude, tell her that she's a cunt. She's a cunt with bells on. Say that. That'll be crazy." Like, and it's that they're just making this shit up. But yeah, they're getting prompts and having producers whisper in their ear and these giant fights, like you're saying, completely staged. And apparently this one dumb fuck could not figure that out.
You know,
Mondo, let's get off this question. It's just making me angry.
Get off this what?
This question.
Oh,
it's making me like angry about these dumb shows.
Yeah, I don't like the current quote unquote reality show anything. I don't
never liked them.
The only shows that are reality shows that I do like are like the cooking ones. That's it. Just because they're really cooking this shit. But anyway, moving on. That was it for Ask Reddit. We are going to wrap this episode up with
Binge or Purge.
Binge or Purge, and we are going to break down the last two episodes of season 1 of Willow, episode 7 and 8. Aaron, what do you
guys? We deserve some sort of medal just for making it through this series. Yeah. I mean, like our parents' generation had Vietnam. We had Willow. Mm-hmm. We you just have to lower your head and get through it. Maybe it's a little bit hyperbolic. So my first takeaway is that we need to if we're gonna review an entire series, we have to figure out a better way to vet it. Because I thought the first episode of Willow was fine, and pretty quickly it just became fun to make fun of.
Mhm.
That's sort of where we're at, guys.
Yeah.
So if if you watched Willow and you're like, this is my favorite show of all time, probably tune out right now because we're gonna rip into it a little bit.
I think they could have made the entire season 1 of Willow into a Netflix 1 or 2 hour spin-off sequel. Like it didn't have to be a full budgeted major motion picture hitting this TV screen box office kind of thing. It could have been just like a Netflix,
Yeah, but then they wouldn't have time for the 14 different kidnappings that happen. So first of all, we're in episode 7.
Mhm.
There's 8 episodes total. Episode 7 is a very pivotal episode because I think it is the first one where no one gets kidnapped. It's like amazing. Every other episode, someone's randomly getting kidnapped. So episode 7, it starts up with Eric, aka Prince Fuckboy, and he's in the weird deserted city, and you're trying to there is a companion, from his and our perspective, an attractive female who was turned up out of nowhere. It's like, could she be up to no good? No, of course she's on the level.
First of all, she's locked up. She's locked up behind some kind of bar. She's behind this cell, and she's like, "Hey, let me out."
and he's like, "Oh, clearly, there couldn't be any strange reason she was in there." And then there's already, it's like, well, he's Prince Fuckboy's gonna Prince Fuckboy. So, and she's playing a little bit hard to get.
I like how early on she says a lot of that shit. She's like, "Oh, you really, really want me. You're gonna try to ploy your way into my pants, blah 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 blah." And
he's like, no, I'm not. Not me. Put a pin in that one, guys. And that could be a euphemism for what he does later. But so anyhow, then you have the rescuers, Willow and company, get to the Shattered Sea, and they have to cross the Shattered Sea. And I don't know. Do you understand why it is called the Shattered Sea?
No idea. No idea.
Because that sounds really evocative, and it's going to be like, I don't know if it's going to be topsy-turvy or there's going to be it's just a big thing of mud. It's, you can just walk across it. It's not really a sea. It's a giant expanse of mud. And I guess Kit is all tuckered out from being a dumb fuck.
Oh yeah, by the way, she fell through the.
Well, that was the last episode.
Yeah, but then they rescued her from it. We skipped over that. We glossed over the fact that she.
I think that was the end of the last episode.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Alora Dannon, Kit. Just to recap, in episode 6, they're trying to escape this sort of troll prison, and the whole thing's collapsing, and they're on this weird sort of like lava / ice / it's very unclear what it is. And Kit decides this is the moment to vent all of her daddy issues. And Alora Dannon's like, cool, let's talk about this later, you fucking idiot. And Kit falls into the lava / ice and has weird visions, and Alora has to magic her out.
Yeah.
And Kit is very tired from being a huge cunt. And they decide that they need to recover. So they find this weird shack. They're like, yeah, weird shack, and just at the edge of the Shattered Sea. Nothing strange here. Let's just go in and hang out.
Yeah.
What would your approach be if you're going into a weird shack like this?
Would not go into the weird shack because there's gonna be some weird shit in the weird shack. If it's in the middle of fucking nowhere, nothing else around but this one shack thing, one building, you're like, strange ? I mean, I'd be skeptic as fuck of the safety of it.
So how did that work out for them?
I forget.
Well, so there's like a very strange old man who seems to have some sort of dementia, because according to him, he was going to save someone, or he wasn't going to save someone. He can't remember
who.
And there's also this monster that's chained up, but you can't see it. You just see the chains, and it's out there, and you're like, oh, this can't be great. What's going on here? but they just decide to hang out with him, and they're talking. And I remember watching this. I was very unclear what exactly the deal was with him. Like, was he one of the Crone's henchmen?
I think so. I think he was like he was like a sub boss. You know what I mean? Like if she's like the boss, he's like one of the ones you got to get through to get to her.
So yeah, I remember there's like an ambush in the shack, and Kit gets hit with as far as I could tell, it was a Ninja Gaiden throwing star. Like, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah.
Is it a shuriken?
Yeah.
And she gets hit. I'm like, oh, please let her die.
Yeah.
Please. I know you're not going to, but that would be such a welcome twist. Kit just dies.
Yep.
No such luck.
No.
And I believe Graydon, who somehow has it's not really clear.
By the way, Graydon is Prince Friendzone.
Prince Friendzone.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah. We've been referring to him as Prince Friendzone up until this time. You name him Graydon, we're like, wow, he got promoted. He got a name.
He got a name. Well, because hold on. Because we're gonna get to that. He was upgraded, right? Because he leaves the friend zone later in this episode. Spoiler alert. But yeah, he somehow knows that this old dementia man is not on the level. How could he have figured it out?
Yeah.
What would have tipped him off? And he sort of the sequence was really weird the way they edited it.
Yeah.
Like someone hits the old man in the face with a frying pan, and then I think it was supposed to be the old man turned into one of the Crone's minions, but maybe the effects house didn't have time to do that CGI effect. So they're like, oh, we'll just do like a weird jump cut. And now there's just a minion there.
Yeah.
So they have to fight the minion, and they're successful, and they get away, and Kit is impaled with the shuriken. And then what persists after this is just a long sequence of them going across the Shattered Sea in this like little I don't even know how to call it. It's like a horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah.
But instead of a horse, it goes over the mud and is pulled by this thing called the Mud Mander.
Is that what the name was? I forgot.
Mudmander.
Mudmander. Okay.
Which Prince Friendzone
be friends
immediately. Yes. I'm gonna say it's more than friends, Mondo. He establishes a deep emotional connection with this Mudmander.
Yeah.
And to give this episode some credit, one, I think they did a great job with the Mudmander design. To me, that if Jim Henson was still alive and had all the CGI tools at his fingertips, it looks like something he would have come up with.
Right.
Looks really cool, really cute.
Yeah.
Giant eyes, which were great for staring deep into Prince Friendzone's eyes. I mean, there are some places where their faces are very close together and they're just staring longingly into each other's eyes.
Yeah.
So that's going on. This whole Prince Friendzone Mudmander love subplot is progressing. Meanwhile, the CGI backdrops really gorgeous.
Yes.
Like some super cool looking sets, and in the midst of them having this little mini travel arc as they cross the Shattered Sea, pulled by Prince Friendzone's one true love, the Mudmander. Willow is trying to teach Alora Dannon battle magic, which, as far as I can tell, correct me if I'm wrong, is battle magic just like sparkles out of your fingers?
Yeah. Sparkles, and they twist and turn, they bend, they do bendies, they do like trigonomic bendies and
Just like really high end fireworks.
Yeah.
I can't tell. Like, what does it do if it lands on you? Is it just like, ow?
I don't know. Doesn't somebody get hit with it? And like doesn't she get hit with it? And she's like, okay.
Well, she hits Willow with it.
Okay. And then he's like, eh.
She gets a little too amped up because he keeps beating her, and she's getting upset. She's like, "No, I'm Lord Dannon, the chosen one," and he's doing the whole like you have to stop holding back, and then she just whams him with a sparkly magic, and he's just sort of like and she's like, "Oh no, Willow," and then he's completely fine.
Yeah.
My other favorite part is that it was established earlier in the series,
very early,
that Willow has a finite amount of magic and it is running out.
But except for this episode, he's got unlimited magic juice.
What the fuck?
And he's not dying because of it.
I mean, I actually thought that was an interesting wrinkle, right? Like, they're getting in all these predicaments and everything, and they're like, Willow, could you do some fucking magic, bud? maybe a little magic, Willow?
He's like,
And-
I can't
and he's
because I
like-
will die.
Yeah, and then but this episode just sparkly magic out of he is just oh god, Mondo.
Maybe
It's the generous couple. Is there something a little bit phallic about his staff? And
Oh
they-
yeah, it's like bulbous up top and it glows and it like shoots out of the top of it. Of course there is.
I mean,
love it, dude.
he's just flinging magic cum at a Laura
green
Dannon.
green magic goo all up in your what would you how old do you think Laura Dannon is? Like 16? How old is she supposed to be?
I don't know. I mean,
So let's say she's 16.
let's say she's 18. Just
Okay.
for
Let's say she's 18 and here's this like 50-some-year-old little person flinging magic green goo all up in this 18-year-old. Like it's kind of what the fuck's going on there?
so that's not great. that was a little disturbing, but the fact that the backdrop is beautiful and they
You're
did
like,
great,
"Aw,
you're like, okay, all right,
aw."
yeah, she's getting magic green cum slung at her. He's cum slinging, but it's really pretty. It's the most enchanting cum I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So my favorite part of the episode is so there's two parts. One, Prince Friendzone realizes that the Mudmander is sick. It's gone too far. And he just lets it go.
Mhm.
And they get all in his face about it. And it's like, guys, he this was his one true love and he sacrificed it. He let it go. You know that whole thing, if you love a bird, let it go, and if it comes back to you. I don't know.
Mhm.
Somehow that seems to apply. But the other thing is, I think he was right. It was going to die.
Mhm.
So the fact that they get so mad at him is extremely illogical.
Yeah.
Like you could have a free Mudmander frolicking out in the Shattered Sea, or you could have a dead Mudmander and you're still not going anywhere.
Chilling with you guys.
The one part I feel anytime Willow has to walk anywhere, not the character, the actor, I just feel bad.
Oh yeah, because he's got that hobble. He's got the little person hobble. Like he's got his walking is not normal and straight. It's
So I don't think he can move the kneecap in his left leg.
there's also scenes where they make him run, but they had to have used like a stunt double or a stunt LP because he's like running okay.
Yeah. No, I hope they did. Because one of these episodes, I do have a tendency of falling asleep when I'm watching these fucking episodes.
Uh-huh.
And there was one where I woke up and it was the original movie.
Mhm.
And there's a part where he runs in the original movie, and you can see it's like he's actually surprisingly spry. Like he
Mhm.
can scamper,
Yeah,
but that left leg just does not bend.
yeah.
So anytime, shoot, I'm forgetting what is the actor's name.
Oh shit. Something cool. He's got a cool name.
He does have a cool name. Here, I'll look it up. But anytime Warwick Davis
Warwick Davis.
has to walk in the show, I'm like, though, guys, can't someone just give him a piggyback?
You can't weigh more than fucking 20 pounds.
Yeah. Let Borman just piggyback Willow. That'd actually be really entertaining
Oh yeah.
if Willow is backseat driving on Borman's shoulders. But no, they make him fucking walk, and they walk to the end of the Shattered Sea, where there's this giant sort of like mud waterfall thing. And this is the part that cracks me up. They get there and they're like, oh, okay, I guess this is it. Like, we went as far as we can go. Let's just go back.
Yeah, well, they get to like the end of almost like it's like if the world was flat
Yeah.
and it's just like a waterfall that just falls off, and they're like, "What do we do? Well, we reached the end of the world. We should turn back, go backwards."
They're like, good game. Like, we
Yeah.
tried.
Yeah,
We're just going to go back, let the world get taken over by the crone. Just immediately, though.
Yeah.
There's no like, let's go a little bit farther down to see if there's a bridge. Let's go. They're just like,
yeah.
nope.
Oh,
What can we do?
Let's go. And
And then again, they haven't spent more than a half second trying to figure out how we should go around this. That Kit and Laura Dannon suddenly use the power of friendship to like charge up, and they just jump off the fucking waterfall.
First it's Laura Dannon, and then Kit's like she has like this vision flashback of how she's supposed to take care of Laura Dannon, and so she's like, all right, kind of reluctant about it, but kind of at the end she's like, fuck it. So they both dive off into this abyss, this end of the like waterfall like thing, and end
Yeah.
up in
And then they see the immemorial city, and the two of them venture on immediately. They don't wait to see if anyone comes. They're just like, fuck it, it's just us now.
yeah.
And then everybody does follow eventually.
Right. That's in
Um,
episode 8, but episode 7 ends with them walking kind of a little ways. They come across the building, and then out comes of this building comes dun, like a transformed Prince Fuckboy. Like he's not the fuckboy we know.
And he's transformed because he's got a new haircut.
I think he probably put the P in the VG of the hot chick. By the way, the hot chick that's locked up in that area is she was one of the Sand sisters in Game of Thrones, like one of the daughters of the Eloria Sand. Or I think the actress is the one that shows her titties in Game of Thrones. I could be wrong. I don't remember. But she's a hottie. She's a hottie for sure. And so I think Prince Fuckboy and this mysterious prisoner woman, they banged or whatever after she was like, he was saying he's not going to try to bang her. And she was like, oh, you better not try to bang me. They end up banging.
I mean, guys, okay. If by some miracle there's any female listeners who are trying to bag a fuckboy, I mean, just very 101 hard to get tactics are all you need.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, you're not my type. And then he's like, what?
Yeah.
I'll show you who's not. I mean, this was reverse psychology 101. How to land a fuckboy, and she just went right by the book.
So they bang, and he's been drinking this mysterious goo from like a mysterious fountain that we don't know what the fuck it is, and she encourages him to keep.
Yeah, now he's drinking the Kool-Aid.
He's drinking the Kool-Aid.
This is Jonestown drinking the Kool-Aid, but it's some sort of slimy Kool-Aid.
So yeah, episode 7 ends with Laura and Kit jumping off the cliff. And now comes Prince Fuckboy from this castle with a new haircut.
Yeah, to show that he's changed.
Yeah.
We know, something's up with. And the funny thing is, like, he is super chill.
Yeah.
At this, he's like, guys,
calm. He's hey.
Oh, I'm like so happy to see you. Like, oh, by the way, and they're like, dude, did you bang the crone? And he's like, no, she's super chill. Like, like you just got to get to know her.
Totally like drop your guard. You're cool. Yeah, just come on in this crazy, creepy desert with this goo I've been chugging.
And they're like, yeah, let's just get the fuck out of here. He's like, no, we will. Trust me. There's, guys, pinky swear there's no trap. There's no weird fuckery. Let's just go in and meet her. And when you talk to her, you'll see she's like super, like to me, he becomes like a Scooby-Doo character.
Yeah.
To me, she will see she's like super chill, Scoob. And they're like, that's actually a halfway decent Shaggy.
Yeah,
wow.
he did.
I don't know where that came from, but so anyhow, while they're going in to meet the crone, what could go wrong? Everyone else decides to jump in after them.
Yep.
And they do. Even Borman. I mean, well, actually, no, not everyone. I stand corrected because
Willow decides to fucking say, fuck this. You guys are crazy.
Yeah. Willow had like a vision of or hearing his daughter like call out to him, and he's like, nah, I'm really going back.
Yeah. Like, I'm done with this shit. You guys are fucking nuts. See,
which I also was like, Willow, here's the thing. you were crossing the Shattered Sea via Mudmander for like weeks, I think it was. And you're 3.5 feet, not even, you're like 2.5 feet tall, and your left leg can't bend. Where do you think you're going?
Yeah, he's just gonna walk all the way back to fucking Willowville.
Like, apparently in the world of Willow, food is not a thing. I thought there was a little bit of logistical issues on Willow's part there, but yeah, he's going back. Guys, is it so he can make a dramatic return at the last second when they need him? No, he's just gonna go back.
Duh, why would they do that?
They're just gonna, episode 8, they just cross Willow off as the title, and they name it Kit / Elora Danan.
Yeah. So yeah, the rest of the gang goes after Kit and Elora Danan, and then there's like a battle with the crone's cronies with there's kind of like a battle scene.
Yeah, they're fighting. This is sort of a reprisal of episode 1, where the what did I call them? I called them like the X-Men or something. Where they just get tuned up by the crone's like fucked up X-Men squad.
Yeah.
So they're fighting them. Meanwhile, Kit and Elora Danan go into the crone's fever dream. They get transported to some like magical world where everything is rose toned.
Everything's all happy
and yeah, and it's like Kit's mom is giving her the validation she never got.
Yeah.
Like, you're perfect just the way you are, Kit. forget your responsibilities. You have to be you.
Yeah.
I do feel like that is every tween girl's fantasy, having their mom tell them that they're perfect and they can just do whatever the fuck they want.
Yep.
And I can't remember what was happening with Laura Dannon while this was all going on.
I think Laura Dannon was like, finally, I got Prince Fuckboy, and he's like trying to bang her.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get married.
Yeah.
Like everyone's there.
Everyone's there, but they're strangely stoic in her version of the fever dream. They're just like standing there, like with no expression on their face. But yeah, everybody's there. They're all like,
and Prince Fuckboy is all about it. He's like, yes, we're gonna get married, and I'm gonna stop being the fuckboy, and it's gonna be perfect. And then, just sort of on a dime, she's like, nah, I'm not into you anymore.
yeah. Well, doesn't he try to get her to drink the goo? Maybe I'm imagining this.
Could be.
But he's like, hey, drink this goo shit, and everything could be okay. And she's like, fuck you, I see through your bullshit. I'm not drinking your goo. I'm not drinking your goo. And yeah, she snaps out of it.
Well, and then somehow, while this is all happening, Mad Mardigan's voice, I don't know if it's actually Val Kilmer.
No. That's what was. Anyway, we'll talk about that.
His voice sort of comes through, and it's like, hey, Kit, stop being a dumb shit. Like, you gotta go save Laura Dannon. What have I been saying this whole time? So Kit tries to go save Laura Dannon, and Laura Dannon's already just given Prince Fuckboy the Heisman.
Yeah.
Just palm out, arm's length, like, nope, no, I'm not into you anymore. I mean, she's like, I want to find someone who looks at me the way Graydon looks at that mudman. And you're not it, boy.
Yeah.
And so suddenly, like, they're back in the Immemorial City, and everything's dark and gritty again. And they have to have a battle against the Crone.
And the Crone, and then the other heroes join in the battle too. Yeah,
Yeah. So I think they're still fighting the minions, and she's fighting the Crone, and she's doing her sparkly battle magic. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of just hurling sparkles back and forth at each other.
She's got white goo, or what color is her goo?
I don't know.
I was green.
I was fading in and out of consciousness.
Yeah.
During this whole sequence.
Yeah.
The one part I remember, I was trying really hard to stay awake, and I was like, oh, please have the opposing, beams of light where they're having like the beam of light, like tug of war. Like, please do it, because that's every superhero movie, X-Men, Professor X, Superman with his heat ray vision. There has to be the opposing beams of light. All right, please.
My favorite version of that of all time is Big Trouble in Little China. You remember that? The end where they do the two wizards do like a beam of light, but the beams of light, like, they turn into like samurai warriors, so they're like fighting.
Oh, that's a little interesting.
Yeah, you gotta watch that. It's pretty cool.
And Mondo, for a second, I was like, no, this season and this show is gonna let me down. They're not, out of all the cliches they've used, they're not gonna do this one. But then guess what, Mondo?
They do it.
They do. It's a Laura Dannon beam of light versus the Crone beam of light. And Laura Dannon wins. She overpowers her because she finds out she's stronger.
Do you remember the one part? It kind of gave Kit some kind of redemption, but not really, not fully. Was when Borman gives her the cuirass, and she puts it on. She transforms into a Power Ranger. Do you remember?
Yeah. Well, she didn't do it. She's got the cuirass on, and I think the problem that Borman had was he didn't have his gay lover activate it for him.
Yeah.
Like, because I think it's been established that Borman goes both ways.
Probably.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely tried to set up some threesomes multiple times.
He actually said something to the effect of like, well, we're all gonna die. We might as well do something. He's looking at, like, I think it was like it was like,
is this a Disney show? What is going on?
He's like looking at both the guy and girl like, huh? Anyone? No.
So if Borman had been able to tempt Prince Friendzone, to the not the dark side, to the rainbow side, right, and they had a thing, and then Prince Friendzone had put I think he would have been the chosen one. I think that was what was holding him back, because I'm hoping they're not trying to lead us to believe that Borman's character and virtue is lacking, but somehow Kit, Kit, the worst character of all.
So they give her like the coolest, most badass, like special effects. She becomes like this fucking Mighty Morphin Power Ranger with awesome battle armor thing, and
which really doesn't come into play at all.
no, but I'm just pissed that they gave her that power.
Mhm.
I was like, you give it to the shittiest of fucking characters. You could have given it to someone cool.
Frankly, I think they should have given it to Willow.
They should have given it to Willow, or
Willow battle armor.
it would have made more sense if they would have given it to Kit's girlfriend, the redhead chick.
Yeah, like she was at least, she seemed to have much better intentions and was 500% less whiny than Kit.
Yes.
I mean, hell, like when she found out her whole life was a lie and she'd been kidnapped from her real family, she's like, you know what, shit happens. Let's move on. Let's have a party. So anyhow, and Willow does show up.
Willow does show up. And,
Shocker.
Yeah.
I'm really upset we didn't see Willow jump off of
I would have liked if all of a sudden Willow turned into like the little Yoda where he like jumps, like the scene in where Yoda like jumps around and bounces from shit to shit. He's got the lightsaber flipping. Like if Willow would have done that, that would be like.
So I think that the difficulty in that is that Yoda at that point was a fully CGI character, whereas Willow is a real. So are you proposing they get Warwick Davis on like a wire kit?
Yeah, like those wire string things where you could make them do flips and shit.
You want Warwick Davis to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Yeah, that was hella cool. That with like magic as he's jumping from shit to shit, like throwing like magic balls.
That as we've mentioned multiple times, our boy's a little old and rickety at this point, and his left leg doesn't bend. That might have been a tall order.
Yeah,
maybe they could have gotten a stunt little person.
Yeah,
to take his place. So anyhow, Willow shows up. She defeats the crone. The crone is dying, and Prince Fuckboy is just completely stricken. He's bereaved.
Yeah,
and he goes to the crone. He's like, and the fuck. This might be the single most fucked up part of the whole show. Through his eyes, she's still this like beautiful young,
hottie.
Yeah. And everyone else just sees it as the wrinkled crone, and he's like, "No, crone, don't leave me."
Yeah.
Like I thought we had something, Mondo. I think you're definitely right. They fucked.
Yeah, they both.
And he's like leaning in to kiss her. You just see the look of horror on everyone's face because they just see him kissing her actual like withered, decaying body, and I'm like, they're not going to actually do it. Spoiler alert, guys, they did it.
Yep.
Like as she is shriveling away, he just full on passionate kiss, and she's like, "You're the harbinger. This is how it was all supposed to happen." I'm like, oh, they're setting him up as the big bad for season 2, apparently.
Yeah.
Guess what? Maybe the case, but no, I don't think so.
No,
because Kit and her Power Ranger armor jump in to fight Prince Fuckboy before he can do any harm to her Laura Dannon, and as he is now sprawled across the ground after receiving a thrashing from Kit's Power Ranger armor, they use the last most cliched trope to save him. Mondo, you know what it was?
I forget, but you'll tell me.
It was the power of friendship.
Oh yeah.
They're like, because the funny part is they never really establish him and Kit having like a deep connection.
The Wonder Twin powers.
No, because if you remember when it became clear they're gonna have all these love triangles, I was like, I think it's Kit and Prince Fuckboy. They seem to be very self-involved and on the same wavelength. But no, episode 1, it's established that he's never really there for her. She doesn't like him. He's just completely unreliable, and then she yells at him, and he gets kidnapped, and she feels bad about it. But then we get this montage flashback of like them as little kids
Happy
together,
brothers and sisters,
and they're like laying in a field together. Which, Mondo, I don't know if this is in purpose, but they were laying in a field together in exactly the same pose that Prince Fuckboy and Laura Dannon were laying next to each. So I'm like, I don't know if that was intentional, but they definitely did that. And then he sort of snaps out of it, and he's fine.
He's fine. And then the heroes are like, "Yay, we saved the day!
Power of friendship!
Let's get out of here! Yay!"
There was this huge insurmountable obstacle where he was the harbinger, and we fixed it in seconds through the power of friendship.
So they're all leaving, they're all walking away, and then
oh right, yeah, I skipped over the part where Graydon gets like blasted and they think he's all dead.
Yeah.
In the fight with the Crohn's X-Men Mutant Squad,
Mm-hmm.
Graydon gets killed? Question mark. But then this is the part where I was really falling asleep. Like then he's like in Willow's dreamscape where there's just piles and piles of bodies and everything like that, and it's apocalyptic. And there's this whole thing about the worm, which I still don't understand what that means or what the worm is. Very unclear.
Well, they're setting up the next big baddie for season 2.
Yeah, I guess the big baddie is the worm. I always pictured it as some sort of like dragon thing, but this amazing, immaculate season 1 ends with Prince Friendzone in the hellscape, and then is it someone that looks like a Laura Dannon?
I don't remember.
Like I was really confused because either it is the same actress who plays Laura Dannon or it's someone else. Who
I think he's having like a vision of a version of like an evil Laura Dannon or something.
And she's like, she's like, it's my time to rule the world, Prince Friendzone, and I need you. And he's like, oh,
yeah. Finally, Prince Friendzone gets to get Laura Dannon, at least in his mind.
And she's like, and just to be clear, Prince Friendzone, I'm an evil Laura Dannon and not the real one. He's like, I don't care. I've got such bad blue balls at this point.
Yeah.
I will fuck the devil himself if it looks like a Laura Dannon. And she's like, cool, let's go.
And that was the end of the series.
Holy fucking shit. So okay, couple questions.
Let's wrap it up. We're about an hour 5 already. So
simplest question, Mondo. Binge or purge?
Purge.
Hard purge. I only suggested we do this because I was hopeful, in the mood.
Yeah, we were hopeful that it was gonna be good.
But specifically for like a fun fantasy show. Mm-hmm. And by episode 5, I was like, no, I'm out.
I think, we talked about, at least I talked about it earlier on the season. Like, I hope they don't ruin the show to the point where like you're like you look back at the movie with, God damn it, like they really fucked up the original movie. The wonderful nostalgia, the feelings you have, the warm and fuzzies you have when you rewatch Willow as an older person. You watch the show, you're like, and it ruins that. It ruins that feeling of like, oh, it doesn't do the original movie any justice. No. They did a lot of things wrong. They did more things wrong to the show than they did things right.
Well, and this show, hopefully, you would hope that this would be a Cobra Kai sort of situation, where not only do they do the show justice, like they make it better, they expand on it. That's not the case. And then they didn't even just do the show; they just had a hold serve, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
That said, Mondo, who do you think won the show? Right? If
like a character, like which character?
It could be anyone. So I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. It was not the writer or director of the show. They didn't win the show.
No.
I don't think it was Disney Plus because I don't think it's doing the numbers that they'd hoped.
I think Warwick Davis did because it got him an acting job, like a central character acting gig, where he was kind of like a prominent part of the storyline, but not really.
He was pretty. I mean, he was pretty central. He's the titular character,
right?
He's Willow,
which
they obviously had to do just for branding purposes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I think I agree with you. I think there's two options. I think it's either Borman, who is the only one who managed to make the crap lines that they gave him work somehow. Like, I don't know who that dude is. I'm gonna look up his IMDb. He's super charismatic in this show.
He did a good job.
Or I think Warwick Davis did hold serve, right? They made Willow extremely whiny, which he was kind of whiny in the movie.
And kind of a dick in certain episodes. He was kind of like he was belittling and berating Laura Dannon, this little sweet kind of innocent.
Sure. Well, they just had to manufacture false conflict.
Yeah.
So they're like, should we do it through writing or no? We'll just make Willow a dick right now. It's like she's been kidnapped 15 times. We're just gonna have him tell her to go fuck off and like wander off into a haunted mansion because reasons, right? Like, but yeah, I think Warwick Davis, his performance was at least adequate.
Yeah.
He got to star in a series.
Yeah.
So like, you know what, Warwick Davis, if there is a season 2 of Willow, I will not watch it, but more power to you.
I think the way they finished season 1, it's kind of guaranteed that there'll be a season 2, and let's just hope that it will be the last. Like they just like Disney's like, yeah, we didn't do very well with season 1. We'll give you season 2 and we'll call it quits. We'll quit where we're moderately ahead. Would you say they're ahead? They're not ahead. We'll quit where we're behind. You know,
Disney. Every Disney show I've watched, there's only been one where I was like, wow, that was great. That was Andor. That was an aberration.
I like the Mandalorian and the Boba Fett ones too, but that's Oh, and then the Obi-Wan one wasn't bad. It was
I
okay.
hated it.
It's all right.
That's a preference thing. But what I'm saying, you know what? People have different tastes. There's someone out there.
Do you think someone out there likes
loves
Willow?
They
The
absolutely
season,
love
the
this.
series.
They love the series.
Wow.
There's a person out there,
Probably.
and it's there's probably a gas leak in their house. There's like their brain cells have been dwindling prior to watching this, and this was like right on their level.
I know who has Willow on the top of their charts.
Who's that?
Our guy from Florida Man, the guy that has like stuffed Olaf. He probably has like Willow dolls and shit from back in the 80s. And
Warwick Davis, do not go to Florida.
Yeah.
It's not safe. Stay away from Targets in Florida, Warwick Davis. But just to wrap things up, what I've learned from my particular taste at this point, Disney Plus is not it. Netflix has even been a little bit shaky for me, but I think right now, Mondo, where it's at is HBO Max. They've had a bunch of winners.
Yeah, HBO.
House of the Dragon,
Yeah.
killer. I really liked. I really liked White Lotus season 2. Even, I am not ashamed to admit, I watched Euphoria. Not the target audience for Euphoria. Not my typical cup of tea. In the words of Austin Powers, not my bag, baby. Still enjoyed it. So I have high hopes for season 1 of The Last of Us because it's being produced by HBO Max. I hope they did not fuck that IP up the way Disney Plus fucked up Willow.
Do you have any final things to wrap the episode?
That was
up?
it.
Okay.
That was the final thing.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for listening and watching and all that cool shit. We will see you guys in a week. Have a good week and bye-bye.
Fuck.